Okay, you've got your Photoshop file all done up and it looks great and the hair looks wonderful. And so let's do the easy part now in After Effects. Let's see what this looks like. Okay, nice. Let's see it again. So what's happening here? What do you see? Well, we've actually got a camera that's pulling back. This is not a scale move. This is a camera that's in here that's pulling back. And you'll see also there's a little movement in the lemurs' heads. That's pretty cool. We'll show you how to do that. And then, of course, we've got our logo, tagline that are over on the right. I've saved you the trouble of doing all this. I've got this all prepared for you. So let's go ahead and get started. I want you to create a new comp. Use the HDTV 1080 29.97 preset. Let's call it Lemurs Your Name and make it 8 seconds long. Okay. Now, when you do this on your own and you import the Photoshop file into After Effects, it's going to create its own comp. Ignore that comp. You're not going to use it. So we're going to click OK here. And I want you to go up here to the Lemur Layers folder. I want you to grab the BG and Lemurs layer. Why don't we want the background layer? That one is your insurance layer in case you have to repair something later. So we're going to drag these onto the timeline. And they're out of order. We're going to reorder them. We're going to put the background in the background. And I want you to tick the 3D switch for both of these layers. Now let's close this up so we don't get confused. And I want you to find the zoo logo comp. And I want you to drag that onto the timeline just above the lemurs. Now you'll see it's going to come in over here in just a second and nothing else is moving. And now we want to set up two views. So I want you to go to the top and click on View, Switch View Layout. And I want you to set it to two views. Okay, and I want you to click on the one on the left. Make sure it's clicked. You'll see these little blue triangles in the corners. And we'll go back again to View. This time, switch 3D View. I want you to set it to Custom View 1. And now from now on, they should be over here in your comp window if you want to change them back. So on this side is the active camera. On this side is this custom view that's sort of a bird's eye view. So let's set up the shot. We're going to first turn off the visibility of the lemurs layer. And I want you to select the background layer. I want you to type P for position. Notice that here in the past we only had two sets of numbers, horizontal and vertical, X and Y. Now we have Z. Z is depth. And so what we're going to do is grab this guy and we're going to hold shift and we're going to push it way back. We're actually dragging to the right here. And if you go too far, you'll start to see black around the edges. That's bad. I'll count off if I see black around the edges. I want you to come out just far enough so that it fills the background, something like that. Okay, now let's go back and turn the lemur layer on and select that layer. Type S for scale. We're going to scale these guys down to 33%. And now we'll type P for position, and we're going to drag them down until they just touch the bottom of the screen. Now let's add a camera. Layer, New, Camera. I want you to make sure you've got a one node camera. We're going to use the 50mm preset right here. And if you want, you can use depth of field. I'm not going to click it now because it dramatically increases your render time. And we'll click OK. So there's our camera. Let's go ahead and twirl up our two Photoshop layers so we don't mess with those. We don't accidentally move them. They are not going to move. Instead, the only thing that's really going to move is the camera. Ooh, almost close. Selected the zoo logo. Let's drag the zoo logo down below the camera. We want the camera on top. Okay, I want you to type P for position. I want you to jump to 4 seconds on the timeline, and I want you to set a keyframe for position. I want you to come to the beginning of the timeline, and we're going to push the camera in towards the lemurs. So we're going to drag to the right. And we want a two-shot here, kind of a tight two-shot. And we'll adjust the position slightly here. And maybe take him just down, a little less headroom perhaps. And so there is our camera move. Okay, so that's the basic move. So we need to select both of these keyframes in Easy Ease. The best way to select all the keyframes on a particular layer is just to click on whatever property you want to Easy Ease. Here we only have position, so we're going to click the word position. It'll select both keyframes. Right click, Keyframe Assistant, Easy Ease, or if you're on a PC you can use F9. And there is our finished motion. It looks pretty good. Now I want to add a little additional animation in here to the lemurs. I want you to move back to 4 seconds in the timeline, and we're going to go up here to the puppet pen tool, not the pen tool here, the puppet pen tool. Looks like a push pin. And if you click and hold on it, just make sure you've got the top one chosen, the puppet position pen tool. Now we're going to put some pins on our lemurs. We're going to put one on each of their noses. And then we're going to come down in their bodies a little bit, just past the neck area, sort of shoulderish, around in there. And finally, some down here, very low, down in the boards, actually. And so let's do this. We're going to grab each of these heads. We're just going to move them a little bit over and maybe up. Boing. Don't go too far because it'll start to look wrong. I just want to kind of crane their necks up a little bit and sort of have them. What they're supposed to be doing is kind of looking at this logo when it comes in. All right, we'll go to the beginning of the timeline and let's move their heads back this way and maybe something kind of like that. Don't move them too far. That might have been too far for me. Yeah, maybe I don't want to mess this up. Move that guy back a little bit. And if we scrub through, we'll see how this motion looks. Okay, so let's go and make some final adjustments here to the lemurs. I want you to type U, and let's go figure out which pins. Here are all the pins that we set, 6 of them. Just make sure that that layer is chosen. I'm going to click on Puppet so that we can see all of those pins. And I think that's the first pin I chose. That should be pin number 1. Let's see. Yeah, pin number 1. Let's select both of those keyframes and Easy Ease. Right click, Keyframe Assistant, Easy Ease. And I think the next head is pin number 2. We'll click on Position, and again we will Easy Ease, Keyframe Assistant, Easy Ease, and so we've got those guys going. So camera pulls back, a little bit of head movement, logo flies in. Great, whatever. And I think I'll just change these guys just a little bit. Maybe I will push this one in a little. Something like that. I don't know. We'll just change their movement just a little bit so they're not doing the same thing at the same time. Now let's add a little dynamics to their head movement. Again, I've got puppet pin 1 chosen here, and I'm going to click on position. That should be selected already. We're going to click on the graph editor. And if we click on the first pin, or the first keyframe here, we'll see our little Bezier handles show up. So what I'm thinking is the logo's starting to come in, their heads kind of slowly come over, and then they sort of snap over like they're a little bit surprised. So I'm going to push this guy pretty far out that way. Maybe something like that. So the movement is very slow, and then zoop, and then it slows to a stop very quickly. Let's do the same thing with puppet pin 2. Click on position, and again click on the first keyframe. Drag that Bezier handle out quite a bit. Shorten the one on the right a little bit, and we should be good. I'm going to twirl that up, and I'm going to turn off the graph editor, and our animation is complete. How quick was that? Now, a couple of things I'll suggest to you. Here, the camera did not move left and right or up and down very much at all. If you create this kind of movement, what you're going to see very quickly is that these are flat objects. They have no depth, so we can't see around to the side, and they start to really look flat very quickly. So there's a way that we can combat this to some degree, and that is to select our subject and background layers, really anything that's 3D that would be in the way of the camera moving. And we're going to go up to Layer, Transform, Auto Orient, and Orient towards Camera. And what this is going to do is no matter where the camera moves, up, down, left, right, they're always going to rotate themselves so that they are facing the camera. It kind of takes care of this weird movement that happens where we kind of, they sort of reveal themselves as being flat objects. Okay. So that's it. Good luck with this. Have fun. Let me know if you have any questions.